Do you really think graphic design is just a skill? You learn Canva, Photoshop, Illustrator and now you are a designer. Do you really think learning these softwares makes you a designer? No, it doesn't work that way. These softwares are just tools we use to create design with. But designing is not just about making cool poster or catchy thumbnails. It's about solving problem behind it. And you can only solve problems through design if you have deep knowledge about these 5 design elements. And today I am going to teach you those 5 ultimate design weapons. If you use them correctly, they will make you multiple times better than other designers. These are the things that 99% of designers ignore. And then they wonder why their work isn't impactful. Why bro? Because creating a killer design requires both theory and strategy. In today's video, I am going to break down these 5 design elements in detail. So make sure you don't miss a single second of this video. And yes, it's going to be a bit longer. So grab a notebook and a pen before you start watching. Now let's get into the video. First of all, let's take a look at these 5 elements. So the first one is typography, second is contrast, third is alignment, fourth is hierarchy, and at last we have color theory. Now let's dive into the first element, that is typography. Let me ask you something. Have you ever seen a horror font on a wedding card? If you have, then honestly that designer's career is definitely at risk. Typography isn't just an art, it's a science. Choosing the right font might seem like a tough task. When you truly understand the typography, you become the master chef of the design world. Okay, before diving deep into the typography, I want you to download this PDF from the link in the description so that you will not have any confusion while I will be explaining different type of fonts. Now let's talk about the type of fonts. Broadly, there are 4 main categories of fonts. First is serif font, second is sans serif font, third is script font, and fourth is display fonts. And apart from these, there are also 2 additional type of fonts, and they are monospace fonts and handwritten fonts. But these 2 deserve their own dedicated video, which I will cover separately. Choosing the right font is just like picking the right outfit for a wedding. You wouldn't dress up in a t-shirt and shorts for a wedding, right? Similarly, every designs need a specific font. Selecting the right font can take your design from average to extraordinary. Now let's dive deeper into these categories of fonts and understand them in detail. Serif fonts are classy and traditional. They convey a sense of authority and professionalism, often used in formal settings. These fonts are characterized by the small lines or strokes at the end of the letter, and those small lines and strokes are called serifs. Here is a fun fact. Serif is a Dutch word which means line or stroke, which adds a mature and reliable feel to the design. Example of these fonts are Times New Roman and Georgia. Now the main question arises, where and when to use serif fonts? If you want to give a brand or design a formal and trustworthy touch, then serif fonts are perfect. Serif fonts also convey a premium feel. For instance, Rolex uses a serif typeface to enhance its luxury branding. But did you know there are several types of serif fonts? Today I will cover 4 main types that every graphic designer should know. So the first one is old style serif, second is slab serif, third is hairline serif, and fourth is wedge serif. Alright, let's start with the first one, that is old style serifs. These fonts are like something out of ancient treasure chest. Modernized versions of the font used in old manuscripts. Old style serifs have a traditional and nostalgic feel, with slightly curved stroke that evokes a sense of history. You have probably seen them in old books or legal documents. They are timeless and trustworthy. Example of old style serif fonts are Garamond and Times New Roman. Now the most important question, when and where we have to use these fonts? These fonts are perfect for books, newspaper and educational content. When you want a vintage or serious vibe, old style serifs are your go-to. Think of these fonts as the bodybuilder of the typography world. Heavy duty and bold. Slab serif are strong and dependable with thick square ends. That creates a bold and impactful presence. They are perfect for grabbing attention in ads or making strong visual statements. Examples of slab serif fonts are Rockwell and Clarendon. Honda uses slab serif font to reinforce its bold and reliable brand image, like the engine of a dependable bike. Slab serif fonts are great for posters, billboards and impactful advertisements. If you want a design to shout, no nonsense, pay attention, then slab serif are your best friend. Imagine a font on a diet, so thin and delicate that they almost float away. But don't worry, they bring ultimate sophistication. Hairline serifs are thin and elegant, with delicate strokes that add a touch of luxury and class. They are perfect for high-end, fashion-focused designs. Examples of hairline serif fonts are 𝗬𝗏 and 𝗏. Vogue uses hairline serif font for its logo and magazine covers, making it the go-to font for sophistication in the fashion world. Now, when and where to use hairline serif fonts? These are perfect for luxury products, high-end fashion brands and premium magazines. When you need that high society classy feel, then hairline serif fonts do the job. Think of these fonts as your friend's sharp and pointed wedding shoes. Stylish, bold and cutting edge. Wedge serif have a triangular end, creating a sharp and modern look. They strike the perfect balance between bold and sophisticated, making them ideal for modern designs that need a authoritative edge. Examples of these fonts are Swift and Guardian Egyptian. The Guardian newspaper uses Wedge serif in its logo and headlines to achieve a modern yet authoritative appearance. Now, when and where to use Wedge serif fonts? These are perfect for editorials, modern branding, and sleek advertisements. Wedge serif fonts are for the designers who want to have their designs a extra sharpness and stand out. So let's talk about when and where not to use serif fonts. Serif fonts often give off a traditional and serious vibe, which can feel outdated in casual or modern designs, like Instagram posts or trendy social media content. In minimalistic designs, serif fonts can appear too heavy and can disrupt the clean, sleek and aesthetic vibe that minimalism demands. On digital screen, especially for the small text, serif font can reduce readability. For such case, sans serif fonts are better option. So these were the 4 main types of serif fonts. Whether you need a classic look, a bold statement, a sophisticated touch, or a sharp, edgy vibe, you have a serif font ready for every situation. Now let's talk and learn about sans serif fonts. Sans serif fonts are like those minimalists who keep just a sofa and a plant in their house. Clean, simple and nothing extra. As the name suggests, sans means without. So sans serif fonts are free of decorative strokes and edges. These fonts are straightforward, modern and entirely focused on readability and clarity. You will find sans serif fonts everywhere, from mobile apps to corporate branding, because they prioritize simplicity and efficiency. Now, why sans serif fonts are so popular? First, because of readability. The simple clean design of sans serif fonts makes them highly readable, especially on digital screens. They enhance readability for websites, apps and even long paragraphs, making the content easy to skim. Second, because of modern and minimalistic look. Sans serif fonts have a contemporary feel, which is why they are widely used for logos and branding. They create a clean and sophisticated look, perfectly aligned with the modern design trends. And third, because of versatility. These fonts are incredibly versatile, perfect for presentation, corporate branding, website, and even for social media graphics. Think of them as the classic white sneaker of the design world, appropriate for any occasion. Here are some popular brands that uses sans serif fonts. First, Google. Google uses a sans serif fonts in their logo to convey an approachable and simple vibe. Their product from Google Drive to Google Maps all are filled with sans serif fonts, ensuring a clean, clear and user-friendly experience. Apple integrates sans serif fonts in its branding for products like iPhone and Mac, emphasizing a sleek and modern image that complements its minimalistic design philosophy. Nike's famous tagline, "Just do it," uses a sans serif font to keep the message bold, energetic and straight to the point. No drama, just action. Now, here is a task for you. Open any app in your phone like Instagram or WhatsApp and check if you see a sans serif font. If you do, then comment below which app it is and how readable you found its font. Now, let's talk about the types of sans serif fonts. There are mainly 4 types of sans serif fonts. First is grotesque, second is neo-grotesque, third is geometric, and fourth is humanist. We will dive into these fonts in a separate dedicated video on typography. So make sure to subscribe to this channel and press the bell icon, so whenever I upload that video, you will be notified. Now, when to avoid sans serif fonts? Avoid using sans serif fonts in a formal context like wedding invitation, as they lack the elegance and tradition required for such designs. Sans serif fonts might feel too casual or minimal for luxury or premium brands, which typically requires fonts with more sophistication, like serif or script fonts. Sans serif fonts don't work well in highly decorative or intricate designs, as they may appear too plain and fail to convey the intended visual richness. Script fonts are like that one friend who always shows up overdressed to every party, fancy, stylish, and totally dramatic. Script fonts mimic a handwritten style, with letters that flow smoothly as if they were written with a brush or a pen. They exude elegance and sophistication, making them ideal for the designs that requires creative or artistic touch. Script fonts can range from casual to formal, depending on their styling. Now, when to use script fonts? Fonts like Great Vibe or Dancing Script add elegance and grace to wedding invitations or special event materials. Their festive and formal feel makes them perfect for highlighting celebrity occasions. High-end brands such as those dealing in perfumes, fashion or gourmet products often uses a script font to project a luxurious and exclusive image. Now, here are some popular brands that uses a script font. First is none other than Coca-Cola. This iconic brand uses a flowing script font that conveys friendliness and nostalgia. It's playful yet instantly recognizable. Second, we have Instagram. Remember Instagram's older logo? It used a cursive style script font to make the brand feel youthful and trendy, creating a sense of personal connection with the user. And the third example is Ford. Ford's logo features a script font that gives the brand a classic and timeless appeal. It's old school yet stylish, striking a balance between history and modernity. Now, when and where to avoid script fonts? You should avoid it in long paragraphs or larger block of text. Script fonts can be difficult to read in long text blocks and should be reserved for the short, impactful lines. Avoid it in business document and professional settings. Using a script font in formal, professional documents can seem unprofessional or out of the place. Script fonts often clashes with minimalistic and modern designs, as their decorative nature disrupts the clean look. Now let's talk about the last type of font, that is display fonts. Display fonts are here to make a statement bold, unique and dramatic. These fonts are perfect for grabbing attention and creating a visual impact. Their job isn't subtlety. They are designed to scream "look at me" and draw viewers in. You will see them in headlines, posters, banners or any place where design needs a power-packed entry. Now, when and where to use display fonts? We can use display font for the street poster or the shop signs. Ever seen a shop board that yells "sale everything at half price" from a distance? That's display font at work, shouting louder than the shopkeeper. These fonts can also be used for event announcement and promotions, whether it's a college fest or a local cricket match banner. Display font makes sure people notice and say, "Hey, we can't miss this event." Here are some popular brands that uses display font. At first, we have Lego. Lego's logo uses a fun, playful display font that makes kids and adults says, "Let's build something awesome." The font reflects the joy and the creativity their toy brings. At second number, we have Disney. Disney's logo is a magical example of how display font can create lasting impressions. Its playful style instantly reminds you of happiness and wonder. One font connects generations to the magic of the Disney. Amazing, right? Now, when and where not to use display fonts? Display font shines in headlines but fails miserably in paragraphs. Using them for the long text can confuse the reader, making them think, "Am I reading a recipe or attending a circus?" It's like being at a party where everyone is yelling into a mic. No one can actually be heard. Serious business presentation or resumes are no place for display fonts. Imagine sending a resume with a bold, flashy font. It's an instant "thanks but no thanks" from the hiring manager. Now let's talk about our second main element, that is contrast. What is contrast and why it is important in design? Contrast is a simple idea that helps one part of your design stand out from the rest. It's like wearing a plain white t-shirt and adding a bright red scarf. The scarf instantly catches your eyes. Contrast means using different between parts of your design so they are easy to read. These differences can be in color, size, shape, space or even in textures. The main job of contrast is to show what's important in your design, making it clear and easy to follow. Now, why contrast is so much important in design? First, because of it makes important information stand out. When you use contrast well in your design, it helps content that's easy to read and look more attractive. For example, if you are designing a website, using contrast between heading and the body text makes it easier for the reader to first notice the heading then read the content smoothly. Second reason why contrast is important is because it improves readability. Contrast makes reading easier. When the color of the text and the background is different, like white text on a black background, it's easy to read. But if the colors are too similar, like light gray on a white background, it's very hard to see and readers have to squint to see what's written. Think about stop signs. They use bright red with white text. This high contrast makes them immediately noticeable, ensuring drivers see them even from a distance. Let's talk about the type of contrast in graphic design. First is color contrast, second is size contrast, third is shape contrast, and fourth is type contrast. Color contrast is like using colors to make the part of design stand out. Like you can see here in the image. There is a contrast in color. Did you see it? We can create size contrast by making some part smaller or bigger to show the importance. We can make type contrast by mixing different fonts or styles to make text more readable and easy to follow. I'm not diving deep into the contrast in this video, but I will be making a dedicated video on contrast very soon. So make sure you subscribe to this channel. In this video, I'm just giving an overview of each topic. Since they are broad subjects on their own, I will create dedicated video on each element soon, where we will dive deeper into the details. Now let's talk about our third main important element, that is alignment. Alignment sounds like a fancy word, right? But let's break it down. Alignment simply means putting everything in a line so your designs look neat and balanced. Imagine if you randomly placed all of your furniture in your room, like your clothes. Trust me, it would be a bit of mess. The same thing happens in design. In design, there are two alignment principles. First is edge alignment and second is center alignment. Edge alignment is the positioning of the content towards the edges of the page. It includes aligning the content towards left, right, top or bottom. Elements are aligned along the left edge, creating a consistent starting point for the viewer's eye. Elements are aligned along the right side, often used in secondary content from right to left languages. Elements are aligned along the top of the page, creating a unified starting point for the viewer's gaze. Elements are aligned along the bottom of the page, typically used for secondary element or the footer content. Content aligned from left to right or vice versa can be called a horizontal alignment. Likewise, content aligned from top to bottom or vice versa can be called a vertical alignment. In center alignments, the invisible line is drawn down the middle of the content or the element. Thus, the arrangement is aligned more centrally. It can include horizontal center alignment or vertical center alignment. On web layouts, you see this commonly used in big headings to grab the user's attention and in many logo designs. Now let's talk about our fourth main design element, and that is hierarchy. Ever noticed how your eyes always go to the big bold headlines on a poster or the brightly colored button on a website? That's the magic of visual hierarchy. It's like a secret map for your eyes, guiding you to what matters most in design. Visual hierarchy is the art of arranging elements to show their importance. It helps viewer to understand what to focus on first, then second, and so on. Think of it as organizing a buffet. The most delicious dishes are displayed front and center, while the sides are tucked away. Now let's talk about the key principles of visual hierarchy. First is size. Bigger the bolder. Larger elements naturally catches the eyes first. This is exactly why the headlines are bigger than the body text. They shout "look at me" while the rest speak softly. For example, imagine a banner where 50% off is huge, but the terms and conditions are very tiny. That's the size hierarchy doing its job. Second is color contrast. Bright colors can be flashing neon signs, impossible to miss. Using the contrasting color ensures that the most important element stand out. For example, think of websites where the sign up button is bright orange on a white background. It's like a spotlight saying "click me." Third, we can create visual hierarchy through the typography. Using different fonts, weights or styles can guide attention. A bold font for headline and a clean, simple font for body text creates a clear path for the eyes to follow. A magazine cover where the title is bold and large, while the subtitles are smaller and thinner. Fourth, we have proximity. Grouping the related elements tells the viewers they belongs to the same category. It's like keeping all the cookies in one jar instead of spreading them across the kitchen. For example, on a menu card, dishes are grouped by starters or main course, making it easy to decide what you are ordering. Fifth, we have alignment. As we have talked earlier, alignments keep everything neat and organized. Imagine trying to read a design where everything is scattered. It's confusing, right? Alignment ensures your eyes move smoothly across the layout. For example, think of a website where all the button, text and images are perfectly aligned. It's satisfying and easy to navigate, right? Now, why is visual hierarchy so important? First is because it grabs attention. The most important information pops out first. Second is because it improves readability, makes content easy to scan and understand. Third, because it enhances user experience, guides viewers through the design in a logical flow. So that's visual hierarchy for you. It's your secret weapon to create designs that not only look good but also works well. I will definitely make a separate dedicated video on hierarchy soon, in which we will dive deep into this design element. Now let's talk about the fifth most important design element, that is color theory. Colors are everywhere, but have you wondered why some designs feel right while other looks off? That's the magic of color theory. It's the guide to help the designers and the artists choose the right color to make their work stand out. Let's break down this fascinating topic and learn how to master colors. Color theory is the science and art of using colors effectively. It teaches us how color interact and how they make us feel and how to combine them for harmony and impact. Think of it as a designer's secret recipe for visual success. Now, there are three key elements of color theory, and they are hue, saturation and lightness. Hue is simply the name of the color, like red, blue, yellow and so on. Saturation is about how vibrant or dull a color is. This is the word you probably gonna see a lot if you work with Photoshop or any sort of digital program. This is simply the intensity of a color. Like you can see, the left one is 100% saturated and the right one is 0% saturated. Lightness measures how light or dark a color is. Adding white to a color creates tint, and adding black to a color creates shade. It's like adjusting the brightness of your phone screen. Brighter for the daytime and darker for the night. Before diving deep into color combinations, you should first understand color theory. You shouldn't think of colors as individual red, blue and yellows. They can combine and interact with each other, creating various visual effects. You might be familiar with this color wheel. This color wheel is a fundamental tool in color theory, as it groups colors by how they interact with each other. Red, blue and yellow are the foundation of all other colors and cannot be created by mixing other hues. Green, orange and purple are formed by mixing primary colors. These are created by mixing the primary color with the neighboring secondary color in the color wheel. Now that we have a basic understanding of the color wheel, let's explore different color harmony schemes and how they can be applied to your designs. There are 6 color harmonies in design. First, complementary colors. Second, analogous colors. Third, triadic colors. Fourth, split complementary colors. Fifth, double complementary colors. And at last we have monochromatic colors. Let's start with the first one, that is complementary colors. Complementary colors sit opposite each other on the color wheel, creating a high contrast and dynamic effect. Analogous colors are adjacent to each other on the color wheel, creating a harmonious unified look. Triadic color schemes consist of 3 colors of equal distance from each other on the color wheel, forming a balanced and vibrant palette. This scheme is a variation of the complementary scheme, where instead of using the direct opposite colors, you choose 2 adjacent colors to the complementary hue. Double complementary colors are created from a set of 4 colors that forms 2 complementary pairs. Now the last one, monochromatic colors. Monochromatic color schemes involve using any one of the colors on the color wheel with different level of brightness, saturation or hue. We will dive deeper into these topics of color theory and color psychology in its separate dedicated video. So this is the basic overview of the 5 design elements that every graphic designer should know. I hope you learned something new from this video. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching.